Welcome to Daily Dose. My name is Robert. I am here with Karen. And Karen, we are talking about cinema therapy class, Field of Dreams. You are the one and only student who's taken the whole class. We had a couple of other brave participants who had to drop out, and it turned into a one-on-one session as I wanted to make sure to get through the curriculum, and you did this fantastic job. Tell me about your hero's journey of completing that class and the screenplay you produced from it.
Uh, it, it it's the most fun I've ever had. Honestly, I found something, and it took a little bit. It started out kind of bumpy when we started the Field of Dreams because I was trying to figure out how to do this aesthetic distance thing. But once I got it, and we figured out that okay, let's do this script program. Let's do that script program. It was like I finally found something I knew how to do. I always wanted to write, but that was fun. And yeah, I felt bad. We lost all our comrades because we're so much of an ensemble based class. And
Yeah.
then everybody is like, okay, do we scare them all away? But no, it was legit stuff. But in a way, when we started doing the 3 pages, you allotted me that 3 pages instead of the one traditional page that
So let me break down some of the things you're saying because
okay,
people who are
sorry.
listening may not know a couple of these things. You said a lot of
Yeah,
great.
I know.
One is the term aesthetic distance. Now, generally, what we're talking about there is getting away from your personal story, what actually happened, to giving yourself a character. Now, you made up this character named Wendy, correct?
Yes.
What was the relationship like between you and Wendy? How you developed it, how you gave her her own life on the page, and tell me about that process.
It was freeing because I didn't have to be this mold of who I'd become.
Mm.
And it opened me up to what I could be. Oh, like I said, there's a storyteller in me for life. And this really unlocked that door that I've been trying to unlock for years. I always felt like I had to include this or that, and this person and that person, and give people credit, even though it was different names. But no, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, this is an original work. I think that's the point of leaning into the creative spirit of using aesthetic distance, and rather than trying to be, truthful and accurate in a bio or something like that, which God love people who do that. That's fine, but there's freedom in this to tap into those pieces of yourself, and instead, you've heard me say this before, you change your relationship of a writer from one as creator to one of more of midwife provider. You start listening to the story, right?
Yes, yes, and listening to the different places you can get a story from, other than just okay, I gotta do this and this. No, you can kind of sit back, relax, and say, okay, what should this character be doing?
Well, and I think we did that a lot. We played that what if game a lot. We said, okay,
Yes.
here's what's going on. And you're a fan of Joseph Campbell, so it wasn't a hard sell there. I could say, here's the template. And I'm not trying to say Joseph Campbell's hero's journey is the only way. It's just a way I know. So when I presented that to you and said, well, according to the general feeling here and rules of writing as I understand them, your character needs something to happen here, and then needs a reaction here, and then needs a win here, and then needs a pain point here. And when you get to those places, I just the highest compliment I can give to you as a student and to anyone who would think about taking these classes is you listened. You didn't realize it wasn't about me and it wasn't about you. It was about the story.
Yeah, and you gave some awesome pitches, and we went back and forth, and it's like, no, not this, but oh, but I
Right.
meant this, and we were able to, push back and forth and mold this thing into something that I had no idea what I was making. Just like the mind putty, I had no idea what I was making until it started, and still until it started progression, and even then, the scenes that I came up with aren't gonna, don't quite line up like they should. But by the end, we've got such a great outline. I cannot wait. I am so excited. I cannot wait. Yeah,
Well,
it,
what's so cool, what I'm hearing you say, one of the things anyway, is again the surrender of thinking you knew. Because when I first met you, you were like, "Oh, I'm sure I'm this, and this is what's going to happen." And it took a lot of peeling back of layers to go, what you thought you were sure of, in fact, was holding you back from what you were potentially to become,
I was
right?
in that prison, that
Yeah.
box.
Well, that's what we talk about, right? The Parkinson's prison, or and so that this creativity, when we submit to it, when we allow it to be, and again, in our larger classes, which we hope others will join us in, we submit not only to, it's not just my feedback, it's the entire class's feedback. So each week, oh, that's what other people are seeing, hearing, feeling, and they're going to see it differently. It doesn't matter how good of a writer we are, other people are going to see, feel, and notice different things in our work that are going to help make it better if we're brave enough to listen. And again, the compliment to you is you are consistently brave enough to listen.
Thank you. Thank you. And I just so glad that people are taking the time to look at my stuff, and I'm so happy to contribute to other people's, and the watching the ripple effect is amazing. I just can't compliment you enough for taking Joseph Campbell's work and molding it into this awesome program.
Well, thank you. We're going to come back. We're going to talk another episode because I want people to understand why Field of Dreams, why that film works for what we're doing. So let's come back and let's talk about that in the next dose. Okay.
Sounds good.